I see. Hoi. I can't. Is this intro quirky enough for you? It won't stay on. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Musical Powwow. I know this is the second episode, but I wanted to do something a bit different from the first episode, though it does fit within the realm of the Musical Powwow. It seems as though a lot of the videos of this format on YouTube tend to be negative, and you know, that's perfectly fine. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with expressing yourself in that manner, but as a viewer, it's not hard to get bogged down in all the bad vibes. It's just not a good feeling.
So whose dick are we sucking today?
We'll get to that part in a minute. You hold your horses, Cinnabuns.
Don't call me that when we're talking about dicks.
I was watching a video this past week about this person showcasing a certain video game, and that was it. It was just him talking about something that he had come to love, and it made me happy. The positivity I got from watching it is really the inspiration for this video and many others to come that will be just like it.
So what is it?
Well, this series is dedicated to the artists that I have come to love.
I knew it. Dick sucking.
A showcase of different artists, different bands, their history, their works, all that jazz. So, without further ado, the artist portrait. The Strokes, hailed by many to be one of the most influential bands to emerge from the 2000s. I can believe it. Its members include Julian Casablancas on vocals, Albert Hammond Jr. and Nick Valencia on guitar, Nikolai Fraiture on bass, and Fabrizio Moretti on the drums. And together they make up the musical transformer known as the Strokes.
They become this transformer that all the parts come together and they're just this massive, totally in sync thing.
Autobots, roll out! We roll!
The New York-based band saw its first big break with the release of their first EP, The Modern Age, back in 2001. Though many critics saw the EP as a passing fad, the band came back later that year with their debut album, Is This It?, and effectively shut them the hell up. Songs from that album include rattlesnakes such as Last Night, Someday, Hard to Explain, and Barely Legal.
Barely legal? What's up with that?
2 years later,
Ignoring me. Typical.
their sophomore album, Room on Fire, was released, harboring some more hits such as the very loved Reptilia, 1251, and The End Has No End.
This video has no end.
Next up is First Impressions of Earth. Dope-ass name. Dope-ass name. The album released in 2006 and is known for songs like You Only Live Once, Juicebox, and Heart in a Cage. It was at this point in their career that they decided to take a break, a hiatus, if you will. And it lasted for about 5 years.
And it was then that the heavens opened up. The apocalypse was nigh. The end of days potato chip. We were all boned. No escape. Where were the Strokes? I need the Strokes.
But it wasn't all that bad. Julian, Albert, and Nikolai all went on to do their side works, their side projects. Moretti even contributed to a band called Little Joy, all of which is highly recommended. I recommend Chicken and Waffles, and then the Strokes. When the Strokes finally decided to bring it all back and give it another swing, Angles became the result with songs such as Under Cover of Darkness, Taken for a Fool, and Life is Simple in the Moonlight. And finally, in 2013, the Strokes released their most recent album, Come Down Machines, with songs such as All the Time, One Way Trigger, and Partners in Crime. Now that wraps up all of the full-length studio albums with the exception of the one EP at the beginning of the video. There are more EPs, and one actually just released very recently. It was a few months ago. Highly recommended. Chicken and Waffles, Strokes. But I'm just going to move on to any of the awards that the band has won over the years. Disclaimer, I am aware that awards are not a measure of how good a band is, so you should take this with a grain of salt. Thank you. Best International Album for Is This It? Best International Newcomer, Best International Album again, Best album for Is This It? Band of the Year, Best New Act, and Best International Band. If you would like to know more about this awesome band, I will leave a link in the description that goes further into detail about their studio recording. It's actually very interesting. Or you can just go to Wikipedia, I don't know, do whatever you want. I'm here to please. Where'd my mustache go? But now we can turn our attention to the opinionated part of the video.
It wasn't opinionated before?
Don't you have rare resources in Africa to exploit, or a workforce to work to death? My mustache
It's the
fell.
Lord's Day!
So, why do I personally love the Strokes? Well, the Strokes came into my life at a transitional phase for me. My tastes were moving from a post-hardcore musical taste to a wider range of music. That in itself could be a video for later. But the reason they stood out to me personally is that I could see a lot of myself through the music, and I know I'm not alone in saying that. The sound was laid back, the riffs, the drum beats, the lyrics, they were incredibly intricate as the band came off as so simple. Everything about the Strokes just screams authentic to me, using just the perfect amount of attitude to open up the listener to a wide array of human emotions. The best way I can describe the sound is an abstract painting. Various colors, shapes, strokes, used to evoke feeling without telling you outright.
Couldn't you say that about music in general?
I mean, sure. Classical compositions, dubstep, you name it. It all serves to evoke feeling, but this combination of complexity and simplicity that complement each other so well will always be associated with the Strokes in my book, and I will implore you to check them out if you haven't. Now for my top favorite albums, I will list them in order of least favorite. I say least favorite, not like it's garbage or anything, but least favorite. Come Down Machine, coming in at number 5. Number 4, Room on Fire. Number 3, First Impressions of Earth. Number 2, Is This It? And number 1, Angles. Okay, hear me out. There's a perfectly good reason why I chose First Impressions of Earth over Room on Fire, and another good reason why I chose Angles over Is This It? Hear me out. Firstly, I would like to point out that I adore all of these albums, and sorting them out in a list was not easy. First Impressions of Earth takes third for me because of its lyrical content. Songs like The Eyes of the World, Electricityscape, and Ask Me Anything. It felt as though this album was going in a different direction from the previous two, and I enjoyed every minute of it. Now for the more controversial part, that's probably going to get me grassed. Why did I choose Angles over Is This It? Angles will always have a special place in my heart, as it was my first introduction to the band. Better late than never. I can associate more memories with this album than I can with any of the other albums for that fact. To add on to that, this album made for a kick-ass bridge that connects the previous works of the Strokes to what they have been working on as of recently. And because I love Living so much, we're gonna do my top 10 favorite songs. Oh, no, for what? For what? You haven't even seen the list yet.
Number 10, Life is Simple in the Moonlight. Number 9, The End Has No End. Number 8, Eyes of the World. Number 7, 1251. Number 6, Dracula. Number 5, Oblivious. Number 4, Last Night. Number 3, Hard to Explain. Number 2, Someday. And number 1, Under Cover of Darkness. So why choose a newer song like Under Cover of Darkness over a song like, say, Last Night? Well, it all goes back to my reason for loving the album Angles. This song embodies that reason in that it is the perfect combination of classic Strokes sounding guitar riffs and fuzz mixed with a sporadic vocal performance to give this song a larger-than-life feel. I love this song and this band to death.
Like a son! I adored you like a son! I'm scared. I don't want to go home.
Well, that concludes our first installment of the artist portrait here on the musical Powwow. And you know, I think that went pretty well. What do you think?
I have cancer now.
Yeah, it could use more work, but hey, there was no other band that I would have wanted to start this series off with than the Strokes. So let me know what you guys think. What are your favorite songs? What are your favorite albums? What drove you to listen to the Strokes in the first place? Convene with the Powwow and let your voice be heard. I guess I'll see you next time. I'm not good with these outros. You put that bleach down! Duke!